Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our service this morning. I would love a volunteer to come forward to light our first Advent candle. Who would like to come and do that this morning? Don't all stampede at once. Okay, Audrey, come on out. Yes. You have been duly nominated for the task this morning. Thanks, Audrey. Come on over. Oy, oy, oy. One of the red ones around there. Anyone is fine, yes. Well done. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. You can get your revenge next week by nominating somebody else, you see. Shall we join together in the words of our call to worship? The first Sunday in Advent, a Sunday of hope. Time to remember a child born amid slavery, a nation awaiting rebirth, a cry for freedom. Hope is born in us today. Let us worship the God of hope. Well, welcome to you all to the first Sunday in Advent. and our service as we mark the beginning of this season. We're going to do things a little bit differently today, but I'll explain a bit more about that in a moment's time. Let's just say a good morning to one another before we continue on in our service. Should we just have a quick look at the notices on page, the second page 5 in the order of service. Yes, we note there about the Tradecraft Christmas appeal. If you need to, a bit confused by it, then have a wee word with Sheila after the service. The Tradecraft is in the atrium over the Advent period, but you'll see there that there are some wee baubles that are ready to have a message put on them and a donation made, and that's all to help in the Tradecraft Christmas appeal. You see that we note about that is there. The Christmas card, is that? I didn't notice it when I was in. It's through in the atrium, so if you're wanting to put a donation in for that and to sign the family Christmas card, it is there ready for you. Of course, Parish News is now ready to go out, so distributors, if you haven't already picked up your bundle, make sure to do that. Now, if somebody has not done that before and would like to, as a one-off in this instance, take a bundle to deliver, we do have a bundle. The person who normally delivers these is unwell at the moment, and this is for doing the flats down at Riverside. So it needs to be somebody who's available in the morning so you can get in on the security button to get in and then to deliver those. So it's just for this one occasion, but if you are available to do that, if you could have a word with Agnes after the service, she'll be sorting things out with the rest of the Parish News, I am sure. So there is that. And number 4 on the list, if anyone is available in the next couple of mornings to help out with bubblegum and fluff, you'll be very welcome to do so. We're starting off at South Holborn tomorrow, and then we'll be here on Tuesday morning for our event with the primary 6s, introducing Christmas to them. It's a lot of fun and a good chance to meet some of the children from the local primary schools and to talk a bit about the Christmas story with them. So you've got a detail of the time, 8:30 to 9ish each morning to gather, and we'll go over things, make sure everything's ready. The children arrive at 9:30. All right. You can have a wee wreath. Number 6, just do keep those of us who are mad enough to be doing the Sleep in the Park next Saturday night in mind, okay? And that's here in Duthie Park, but also folks are going to be doing it in Dundee, in Glasgow, and in Edinburgh. And at the last time I checked, there was over £2 million has been raised by folks all over. Again, as they did last year, they're aiming for about £4 million to raise that money. And I was just sharing with Doug before the service that I'd seen that some of the money that was raised last year has helped to take 1,000 people off the streets and to get them under a roof. So it's a lot of good work going on. And then putting programs in place to help those people to get back into society. So keep that in mind. If you haven't made a donation for that already, there was a website there. You can do it online. Thank you to everyone who participated in the Christmas fair yesterday afternoon, for all of those of you who donated different gifts, who are baking, who had been creating things for that, those of you that helped out, and of course those that came along. The total thus far is over £1,700 was raised, so that's brilliant. There are still some items that are available that are in the hall, so after our service you'll get a chance to have a look there, including some lovely flower arrangements there. So do make a contribution. You can pick something up after our service. Let us come to God in prayer. Let us pray. It is Advent time again, Lord. It's a time for excitement. It's a time of impatient waiting. It's a time that families love, children love, when they become the center of attention for all the adults of our world. And in churches across this world, it's a time of getting ready to remember and celebrate the story of the birth of the child who'd be named Jesus. It's a time to decorate buildings, to plan parties, to wrap presents, to rehearse for nativity dramas, to brush off the carol descants, to look forward to holidays from school. It's a time to remember the children in our world who, like Moses and Jesus did, live in dangerous places, who struggle to have enough to eat, or a place to sleep, or access to education or health care. In this time of Advent, may we be grateful for all that we have and look for ways that we can share what we have with others to help children around the world who have little to celebrate at this time of year. Lord God, on this first Sunday of Advent, on this day of hope, hear our prayer. Amen. We are going back in time. I really should have brought the TARDIS back through here for this. From where we've been over the last few weeks, we've been traveling, if you remember, through the wilderness with Moses and Aaron, the Hebrew people, after their escape from Egypt. Well, today we're going to bounce back some decades in that story, back in time, and indeed back to Egypt. We've heard over the last few weeks the repeated complaint to an elder Moses, why can't we return to Egypt? Today we do. And we do so in order to hear the story that is told about Moses' birth and what followed. In the animated film of the earlier part of Moses' life, the Prince of Egypt, Zipporah and Miriam sing, "Many nights we prayed, with no proof anyone can hear. In our hearts, a hopeful song we barely understood." This is a story of hope in a challenging time. Through our season of Advent, we're going to visit important birth stories in the Bible, like today's story about Moses. And we're going to do that together, like those Hebrews in the wilderness, uncovering what it meant to trust God. And we're going to journey too, not into the desert of Sinai, though a bit of warmth would be delightful, but rather through into the church hall as part of our service. We'll hear today's story. We're going to sing some songs, consider what Moses' father and mother might have thought about what was going on, and then we're going to travel together into the hall where we will continue our time of worship with fellowship around the tables, a wee snack, a cuppa on hand, as we think together about what today's story means for us. You'll see in the order of service a note of when we're going to go through to the hall. We'll do that in song and a note of the readings so that you can refer to them. And then there are some questions also to get you started on each table. We'll have about 20 minutes to think about the story and those questions and anything else related to the story that you want to share with those at the table. We might have lots we want to talk about in relation to the story. We might just want to listen to what others are saying. That's okay. You participate as you wish. And at the end of that time to chat, we'll have a little activity to do, something very simple to reflect on the theme of this story and the results of that activity and those that will follow over the next weeks. We'll go to decorate our Christmas tree here in the sanctuary. So, with that introduction out of the way, let's cast our minds, our hearts, and our souls back to the heat, the exhaustion, the anxiety, and the fear of a people oppressed in ancient Egypt. And
the reading is from Exodus chapter 1, beginning at verse 8. Now a new king arose over Egypt who did not know Joseph. He said to his people, "Look, the Israelite people are more numerous and more powerful than we. Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, or they will increase. And in the event of war, join our enemies and fight against us and escape from the land." Therefore they set taskmasters over them to oppress them with forced labor. They built supply cities, Pithom and Rameses, for Pharaoh. But the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied and spread, so that the Egyptians came to dread the Israelites. The Egyptians became ruthless in imposing tasks on the Israelites and made their lives bitter with hard service in mortar and brick and in every kind of field labor. They were ruthless in all the tasks that they imposed on them. Then Pharaoh commanded all his people, "Every boy that is born to the Hebrews you shall throw into the Nile, but you shall let every girl live."
What could I do? We were slaves. The Egyptians hated us. We tended their crops and built their cities. But there were more of us than them. But they were in control. They made our lives hard and as miserable as they could. A new Pharaoh had come to power. He knew nothing of how our ancestor Joseph had been a wise advisor to the rulers of Egypt. He only saw the danger that we would become, and he decided to do something about it. So he ordered the Egyptians to kill our baby boys at birth. Our baby girls were not a threat. Girls grow into mothers, not potential warriors. He tried to get the midwives to kill the baby boys when they were born, but the midwives refused to help him. So he gave orders that all Egyptians must seek out our newborn baby boys and throw them in the Nile. Now I have 3 children. The older boy and the girl are safe. My second son was born 3 months ago. He's strong and healthy. He is beautiful. I'm a man. It's my role to protect my son. But how can I do that? As my son grows, he makes more noise. It's becoming harder to hide him. Many of our children have been killed. Their cries and the cries of their families haunt me. I fear my son will not survive much longer.
Let's sing together when the storms of life are raging.
The second reading comes from Exodus 2, beginning at verse 1. Now a man from the house of Levi went and married a Levite woman. The woman conceived and bore a son. And when she saw that he was a fine baby, she hid him for 3 months. When she could hide him no longer, she got a papyrus basket for him and plastered it with bitumen and pitch. She put the child in it and placed it among the reeds on the bank of the river. His sister stood at a distance to see what would happen to him. The daughter of Pharaoh came down to bathe at the river while her attendants walked beside the river. She saw the basket among the reeds and sent her maid to bring it. When she opened it, she saw the child. He was crying, and she took pity on him. "This must be one of the Hebrews' children," she said. Then the sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and get you a nurse from the Hebrew woman to nurse the child for you?" Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Yes." So the girl went and called the child's mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child and nurse it for me, and I will give you your wages." So the woman took the child and nursed it. When the child grew up, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and she took him as her son. She named him Moses because she said, I drew him out of the water.
I would never have guessed that my daughter could be so resourceful. She knew what was happening. She had heard the cries of grieving parents and dying children. Curse this Pharaoh for killing our babies. We had managed to hide our son for 3 months. He was strong and healthy. We could no longer hope that he would be silent when the Egyptians came among us. Shipra and Puah had been amazing, telling the Pharaoh that we often gave birth alone before they came to help us. And he believed them. No woman would give birth alone by choice, without a midwife to help them. It's a good job the Pharaoh is so ignorant about women's lives. Miriam came to me with a tale about the Pharaoh's daughter, regularly bathing in the river. She thought if the Pharaoh's daughter saw the beauty in her baby brother, she might feel sorry for him. It was a big if. But what other hope did we have? We made a basket out of reeds, caulked it with tar and bitumen, and put our baby in it. Then Miriam took the basket down to the riverside and watched at a little distance to see what happened. The Pharaoh's daughter came down as usual, with her attendants to bathe in the river. When she saw the basket, she sent her maid to fetch it. When she opened the basket, my son was crying, and she felt sad for him. She knew he would be killed if anyone found him. When Miriam saw the look on the Pharaoh's daughter's face, she hurried to speak to her. She asked the Pharaoh's daughter if she should go and get a wet nurse for the baby. When the Pharaoh's daughter nodded, she came and found me. Our baby is safe. Pharaoh's daughter is paying me to nurse him, and she has made sure that no one will harm him. When he is crawling, but before he starts to talk, I will take him to Pharaoh's daughter, and she will bring him up in the palace as her son. She has given him a new name. It means to pull out, because he was pulled out of the river. He is to be called Moses. We will be sad when he goes to live at the palace, but he will be safe there. Pharaoh's daughter walks freely in Egypt, so we may catch sight of him as he grows up.
Thank you, Diane. Let's sing together our next hymn, and as we do so, we will take up our offering for everyone born, a place at the table. Let's say together our act of dedication. Generous God, all that we are and have is from you. Receive now our offerings, freely given, to be used for the benefit of all. May we be willing to offer freely in the service of others, whatever we can, in time, money, or talents. Amen. Take a seat. We are just about to sing, and as we sing, we are going to head out through this door here. So make sure you bring your order of service with you. You will still need this, and if you've got any coats or bags, you want to bring that through with you as well. And we're going to head through into the hall and then just find a place at the table. Once everyone's through, Catherine, you can finish the stream. And for those who are watching on the live stream, I'm sorry we can't send you tea and coffee down the wire. But you if you're on YouTube, you've got the questions there in the description, so you can have a look at the same things that we are going to be looking at through in the church hall as well. So if everyone has got their things together, let us stand, let us sing, and as we sing, we will head on through the doors here and into the church hall. We will walk with God, my brothers, we will walk with God.